Emily had always felt a peculiar sense of dread when she ventured into the attic of her ancestral home. One stormy evening, as the wind howled and the rain pounded against the roof, she stumbled upon an old leather-bound manuscript tucked away in a dusty trunk. The moment she touched it, a chill ran down her spine, and the shadows around her seemed to come alive, whispering secrets of an ancient curse. The attic was a labyrinth of forgotten memories, each item a relic of a bygone era. Cobwebs clung to every surface, and the air was thick with dust. As a writer, I found inspiration in the most unexpected places, but this manuscript felt different. It exuded a malevolence that I couldn't quite place, yet I was inexplicably drawn to it. I carefully lifted the manuscript from its resting place, feeling the weight of the ages in my hands. The leather cover was cracked and brittle, and the pages within were yellowed with age. As I opened it, a strange sense of familiarity washed over me, as if I had seen these words before, though I knew that was impossible. The manuscript was written in an archaic script, the ink faded but still legible. It told the story of a dark past, filled with secrets and betrayals. The more I read, the more I felt a connection to the narrative, as if the events it described were not just ancient history, but a part of my own family's legacy. My family had always been shrouded in mystery. My ancestors were reclusive, seldom mentioned in the local lore. Growing up, I had heard whispers of curses and untold tragedies, but they were always dismissed as mere superstitions. Now, with the manuscript in my hands, those old tales seemed to carry an unsettling truth. As I delved deeper into the manuscript, strange things began to happen around the house. The creaking of floorboards, the flicker of candlelight, and the soft murmurs in the night all seemed to coincide with my readings. It was as if the house itself was responding to the secrets I was unearthing. I tried to shake off the feeling of unease, attributing it to my overactive imagination. Yet every time I returned to the attic, the air felt heavier, the shadows darker. The manuscript had a grip on me, compelling me to read further despite the growing sense of dread. The storm outside intensified, lightning illuminating the attic in brief, eerie flashes. As I turned another page, a particularly disturbing passage caught my eye. It spoke of rituals and sacrifices, of binding forces that were not easily undone. The words seemed to pulse with an ominous energy, and I couldn't help but feel that I was on the brink of something terrible. The deeper I went, the more personal the manuscript became. It detailed the lives of my ancestors, their struggles, and their tragic ends. Each story was more harrowing than the last, filled with sorrow and despair. It was clear that my family was cursed, their fate sealed by the very manuscript I now held. Sleep eluded me that night. The storm raged on, and my mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and fears. I could still hear the faint whispers, growing louder with each passing hour. It was as if the spirits of my ancestors were trying to warn me, to keep me from uncovering the truth that had been buried for so long. By morning, I was exhausted but determined. I had to know more, had to understand the full extent of the curse that plagued my family. The manuscript held the answers, and I was willing to face whatever horrors it revealed. I spent the entire day in the attic, poring over the ancient text, each revelation more chilling than the last. The manuscript recounted a tale of betrayal that stretched back centuries. A powerful artifact had been stolen, and in retaliation, a curse was placed upon my family. The curse was designed to bring misery and suffering to every generation, ensuring that no one would escape its grasp. The more I read, the more I realized that the curse was not just a story, but a living force. It had shaped the lives of my ancestors, twisting their fates and driving them to madness. And now it seemed it was my turn to face its wrath. The weight of that realization settled over me like a shroud. I began to notice changes in myself. My thoughts grew darker, my dreams more vivid and terrifying. The manuscript had a hold on me, its cursed words seeping into my very soul. I could feel its influence growing stronger, and I knew that I had to find a way to break free before it consumed me entirely. Desperation drove me to seek answers beyond the manuscript. I reached out to historians, scholars, anyone who might have insight into the curse and its origins. Most dismissed my inquiries as nonsense, but a few were intrigued enough to offer their help. Together, we pieced together a grim picture of my family's past. One name kept resurfacing: Eleanor. She was the one who had stolen the artifact, the one who had brought the curse upon us. Her story was shrouded in mystery, but the manuscript hinted at her motives and her ultimate fate. I had to know more about her, to understand why she had damned us all. As I dug deeper into Eleanor's story, I discovered a hidden chamber in the attic, a place that had been sealed off for generations. The air inside was cold and stale, filled with the scent of decay. It was here that I found more writings, journals that belonged to Eleanor herself. Eleanor's journals were a revelation. They painted a picture of a woman driven by desperation and revenge, willing to go to any lengths to achieve her goals. Her actions had set in motion a chain of events that would reverberate through the centuries, binding my family to the curse. The journals also contained a clue, a way to possibly break the curse. It involved a ritual, one that required great sacrifice and bravery. The instructions were cryptic, but I felt a glimmer of hope. For the first time, I saw a path to freeing my family from the curse that had haunted us for so long. With the help of the scholars, I prepared for the ritual. Every step had to be precise, every detail followed to the letter. It was a dangerous endeavor, but I was willing to risk everything. The thought of my ancestors suffering through the ages spurred me on, giving me the strength to continue. The night of the ritual, the storm returned with a vengeance. Thunder rumbled in the distance, and the wind howled through the trees. I gathered the necessary items and made my way to the clearing in the forest. The manuscript clutched tightly in my hands. It felt like the culmination of everything, a final showdown between light and darkness. As I began the ritual, I could feel the presence of my ancestors around me, their spirits lending me their strength. The air crackled with energy, and the shadows seemed to dance in the firelight. I spoke the ancient words, my voice steady despite the fear that gripped my heart. The ground trembled beneath my feet, and a surge of power coursed through me. It was as if the very fabric of reality was shifting, bending to my will. The manuscript began to glow, its pages turning to ash in my hands. I could feel the curse weakening, its hold on my family loosening with each passing moment. But the curse was not easily vanquished. A dark force emerged from the shadows, a manifestation of the malevolence that had plagued my family. It took the form of a towering figure, its eyes burning with hatred. I stood my ground, determined to see the ritual through to the end. The figure approached, its presence overwhelming. I could feel its cold breath on my skin, its malice seeping into my bones. But I did not waver. With a final desperate effort, I completed the ritual, releasing the last of the cursed energy into the night. The figure let out a deafening roar, its form dissolving into the darkness. The air grew still, and the forest was silent once more. I collapsed to the ground, exhausted but triumphant. The curse had been broken, its hold on my family shattered at last. As I lay there, the weight of centuries lifted from my shoulders. I felt a profound sense of peace. The spirits of my ancestors were free, their suffering finally at an end. I had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, and I knew that I had done what was necessary to save my family. In the days that followed, I carefully collected the remains of the manuscript and buried them in a secret place, ensuring that they would never be found again. The attic, once a place of dread, now felt like a sanctuary, a testament to the strength and resilience of my family. Life slowly returned to normal. The shadows that had once haunted me were gone, replaced by a sense of calm and serenity. I continued my writing, drawing inspiration from the trials I'd faced. The story of my family's curse became a powerful tale of redemption, a reminder that even the darkest of nights can give way to the dawn. But the memory of the manuscript lingered. I knew that its influence was still out there, a lingering shadow that could return if not carefully guarded against. I resolved to keep my family's history alive, to pass down the lessons I had learned to future generations, ensuring that they would be prepared if the darkness ever returned. The experience changed me in ways I could never have imagined. I had faced my deepest fears, confronted the darkness within and without, and emerged stronger for it. The manuscript had been a curse, but it had also been a test, one that I had passed with the help of my ancestors and my own unwavering resolve. I often found myself returning to the attic, not out of fear, but out of reverence. It was a place of power, a symbol of my family's resilience. Each time I entered, I could feel the presence of my ancestors, their spirits watching over me, guiding me as I continued to navigate the complexities of life. The town, once skeptical of my family's history, began to see us in a new light. The story of the manuscript and the curse became a part of local legend, a tale of courage and triumph over darkness. I was invited to share my story at community gatherings, and it was met with awe and admiration. My journey had come full circle. I had started as a curious writer, seeking inspiration in the forgotten corners of my home, and ended as a guardian of my family's legacy. The manuscript had brought me pain and fear, but it had also brought me strength and purpose. I knew that I was exactly where I was meant to be. And so I continued to write, to tell the stories that needed to be told. Each word was a testament to the journey I had undertaken, a tribute to the resilience of the human spirit. The manuscript had been a dark chapter in my family's history, but it was one that had ultimately led to light and redemption. I often wondered what my ancestors would think of me, of the choices I had made and the battles I had fought. I hoped that they would be proud, that they would see the strength and determination that had driven me to face the darkness and emerge victorious. The forest clearing, where I had performed the ritual, became a place of reflection and peace for me. I would visit it often, taking in the beauty of nature and the tranquility that now filled the air. It was a reminder of what I had overcome, of the sacrifices I had made to free my family from the curse. In time, I found love and started a family of my own. I made sure to share the story of the manuscript with them, to teach them the importance of courage and resilience. I wanted them to know that no matter how dark things might seem, there is always hope, always a way to break free from the shadows. As the years passed, the memory of the manuscript faded, but its lessons remained. It had taught me the power of determination, the strength of the human spirit, and the importance of facing one's fears. It had shown me that even in the darkest of times, there is always a glimmer of light waiting to be found. And so, as I stood in the attic one last time, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. The manuscript had been a curse, but it had also been a gift. It had brought me pain and fear, but it had also brought me strength and wisdom. I knew that I would carry its lessons with me for the rest of my life, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit.